Today we are going to cover section 11.4, two-way tables. If you can take the time to write down your essential question and go and paste your cutout, or go and take the time to copy it down. And once you're ready, you can continue the video. Go and pause it. So two-way tables is another way to organize data. Now, if you go back to 11.1, on 11.1 we cover dot plots, and we also were able to find the mean, median, mode, and the range. Now, dot plots is a nice way to be able to organize your data because you can see how many you have, you can see the range, and you can also estimate your median. Then in 11.2, we organize your data by using box and whisker plots. 11.3, we organize them by using the histograms. And now we are going to organize our data using two-way tables. So a two-way table is a frequency table that displays data collected from an on source that belongs to two different categories. So therefore, we are collecting data that will belong in two different categories. So one of the categories that we have right now, it's working and non-working, male and female. One category is represented by rows, and the other is represented by columns. So first category is gender. The second one is whether they're working or not. And then we can basically just go and calculate the totals for each one. So in this case, 25 plus 32 will give me 57. 3 plus 5 will give me 8. If you add 25 plus 3 will give me 28. 32 plus 5 will give me 37. If you add 28 plus 37 will give you 65. 58 plus 8 will also be giving you 65. So that's one way to be able to check, make sure that we are getting the correct numbers, is that if you add up your totals on your column, that will give you 65. And if I add my totals in my last row, that should also give you 65. And we'll be doing that through each of these problems. So each entry in the table is called a joint frequency. So those four numbers inside the table is called a joint frequency. The sums of the rows and columns in two-way tables are called marginal frequencies. So those, the 57 and 8, 28 and 37, those are in the margin, and that's what they call marginal frequencies. So let's go through problem number one. So take the time to write it down, and then we can continue once you are ready. Go and pause it. So one of the things that you have to be careful with is that you want to make sure that you are reading the problem carefully. And then we're going to fill out all those so one of the things is that you have to make sure that you read the problem carefully, and then we can fill in the table. 66 freshmen responded to the survey, with 32 saying that they will be attending. So we have a total of 66 freshmen. So we're going to write that down. And notice that the table is already set up for you. So in this case, 66 is the total number of freshmen that answered the survey. And 32 said they will be attending. So attending will be 32. Let's continue on. Of the 85 sophomores that responded, so a total of 85 for the sophomores, 46 said they will attend. So 46 of the sophomores are going to be attending. Organize the data in a two-way table, which we have already started. And now we can start filling in the gaps. So in this case, 32 attending, a total of 66. How many are not attending? So in this case, and you can use a calculator. So if you have a scientific calculator, or another option is to use if you just search on your app store. I'm going to use my scientific Desmos calculator, and I can just type in 66 minus 32, and we know that's 34, correct? So therefore that'll be 34, and most of the time you actually don't need one, but if you want to use one, you can just use a scientific calculator. So therefore 32 plus 34 will give me 66. 46 plus one number will give me 85, so that should be 39. In other words, we can use 85 minus 46, so let's reset. So we have 85 minus 46 will give me 39. And now I can start adding my columns. So it gives me 8, that gives me 7, that gives me 13, carry 1, so it gives me 7. If I add those two numbers, it should be the same as if I add those two numbers. So therefore, I'm going to add 66 plus 85 will give me 151. And I always want to double check to make sure I did it correctly. So therefore, if I add 78 plus 73, that should also give me 151. So that confirms it. And we are done filling out the table. Now we can answer the questions below. How many students responded to the survey? So how many students total? Correct. 151. So 151 students. How many of the students that were surveyed are attending the dance? So students that are attending the dance will be 78. How many of the survey sophomores are not attending the dance? So sophomores that are not attending will be 39. Now, let's continue to the next problem. It says, take the time to copy down, go and pause it, and then we can continue once you're ready. Go and pause it. Excellent. So in this case, Heather sent out a survey asking who was working during the holiday. Of the 50 boys who responded, 34 said yes. Of the 45 girls who responded, 21 said no. So take the time to work it out, and then we can see if you did it correctly. Very similar process as above. So that's it. Heather sent out a survey who was working during the holiday of the 50 boys. So therefore, 50 will be total responded. So that 50 goes here. 34 of them said yes. So working 34 gets here. Of the 45 girls who responded, so there were total 45 girls, 21 said no. So 21 said no. Create two-way frequency table of the results. So we already started to fill it out, and that's it. One number should go here. Correct. 34 plus one number gives you 50, will be 16. One number should go here. A number plus 21 will give me 45, so it'll be 24. And you can always double check. You can always do 24 plus 21 should give me 45. And now I can add my columns. So therefore, my marginal frequency here is 8, and that is 5. My marginal frequency, that is 7, and that is 3. If I add this number together, that gives me 5, that gives me 9. So therefore, if I add 58 and 37, should also give me 95. So we add 58 plus 37 will give me 95. So therefore, this matches, and we can make sure that we did it correctly. So now let's go and answer the questions. How many students responded to the survey? A total of 95 students. How many of the students that were surveyed are working during the holiday? So during the holiday, how many of them are working? 58. How many of the survey girls are working during the holiday? So we're only looking for the girls who are working. So girls who are working will be 24 girls. Now let's continue to example number 3. One of the things that we are going to cover is something that we call relative frequency. So a relative frequency is the ratio of the number of observations in a category to the total number of observations. So something that you need to kind of remind yourself is, what is the ratio? A ratio is a fraction. So therefore, when we are working with relative frequency, we're going to have a fraction, and we're going to represent that frequency as a probability. So therefore, it's going to be a percentage. So let's go through example number 3. Take the time to copy it down, pause it if you need to, and then we'll continue once you're ready. The managers, staff, and assistants were given 3 options for the holiday activity. They were given a potluck, a dinner, a restaurant, and a gift exchange. We have potluck, gift exchange, and dinner. Of the 11 managers want a dinner. 5 of the 11 managers. So 5 of the 11. So where can we place this information? The managers is a total of 11, and 5 of them wanted dinner, while 3 of them wanted potluck. And we'll fill out the missing blanks in a second. 11 of the 45 staff members, so 45 is the total, staff members will be 45. 11 of them wanted gift exchange, so staff, 11 wanted gift exchange, while 18 wanted dinner. Staff, 18 wanted dinner. So we need to be able to find out how many of them wanted potluck. 10 of the 32 assistants wanted dinner. So 10 of the 32 assistants, so 32 will be the total. 10 wanted dinner, while 8 wanted gift exchange. Create two-way frequency table. So let's go through each of the rows. So we know that 5 of them wanted dinner, 5 managers. 3 managers wanted dinner, a potluck, and that's a total of 11. So how many want a gift exchange? 5 plus 3 is 8, plus one number gives you 11, will be 3. We have 18, 11. We need to find out how many want potluck to be a total of 45. So therefore, I'm just going to take my calculator and I'm just going to subtract. I'll take 45 minus 18 minus 11. And that gives me a total of 16. So therefore, 16 of them. And actually, take the time to double check if I add those 3 numbers. 18 plus 11 plus 16 should give me 45, and it does. So therefore, that is correct. 10 plus 8 is 18, plus one number will give me 32. Correct. So what should be the number? Correct. It should be 14. And if I do 32 minus 10 minus 8, that gives me And now I can find the marginal frequency. I can add those three numbers together. So therefore that gives me 13 and carry 1. So it gives me 33. 8 plus 3 is 11 and 11 is 22. 14 and 16 is 30 plus 3 more gives me 33. 1 plus 5 plus 2 will give me 8 and 8 gives me 88. Now I do need to confirm, so therefore I'm going to add those three numbers and that should give me 88 as well. So we have 33 plus 22 plus 33. That gives me 88. So therefore this number is correct and we confirm it. Now, how many managers want a dinner? See if you can figure that out. So managers that want a dinner are 5. What is the relative frequency of the managers who want a dinner? Now, the managers that want a dinner is 5, but the relative frequency, remember that is the ratio, and we need to express, and we're going to express it as a decimal and then as a percentage. So it'll be 5 over the total, which is 88. I'm going to change that to a decimal. We have 5 divided by 88. And I'm going to just keep 2 decimal places actually. I'm going to keep up to the 5. So 1 over 0.05. Let's do one more. The next one is 6. The next one is 8, so that makes it 7. Just because it's such a small number, I want to have 2 digits. And now to convert to a decimal, what should I do? Move it to the right once, twice. So therefore, it will be 5.7%. Is the relative frequency of managers who want a dinner. What is the relative frequency of assistants who want a gift exchange? So assistants that want a gift exchange are 8 out of 88. Remember, it's always over the overall total. Now I can reduce it by 8 to 1 over 11, or I can just type into my calculator. I'm going to use my 8 divided by 88. And I'm going to decimal, so I'm going to place 0.091. Since that's in 9, that will make that into a 1. So it'll be 0.091. I'm moving the decimal to the right twice. 1 twice. So therefore, that will be 9.1%. And let's go over the last problem for today. So take the time to write it down, and then we'll continue once you are ready. Go and pause it. So notice that in this case, they filled out a table for you. So it says a factory makes 3 sets of bookcases, small, medium, and large, and those are on the columns. Each made from pine, oak, or walnut. Pine, oak, or walnut. The two-way frequency table shows information about the number of bookcases that factory makes in 1 week. Complete the two-way table. Now, in order to complete it, it can be a little challenging, but the way that you can actually just get your ID or a ruler, and we are only able to find information if you are missing only one space, one missing information. So in this case, for pine, we know there's 7 small. We know the total of pine bookcases is 23. We don't know how many medium or how many large, so therefore I can't find that information. So I cannot do this step yet. Let's continue with oak. Oak is missing two. It's missing small and large, so that we can't start through there. Walnut has all four, which is great, but there's nothing missing here. On the totals for the row, we have two missing, so we cannot find that information yet. Now, under small, we have 7, we have 3, and a total of 20. So therefore, we can find this piece of information, which will be 7 plus 3 is 10, plus one number gives you 20, so it'll be 10. Or if you want, you can just use your calculator. 20 minus 7 minus 3. That gives me 10. On the next one, we're missing two pieces of information, so we can't find that information yet. We're missing 2 as well for the large. For the total, we're missing 1. So therefore, we can just find the information. Now you can decide to use your calculator, or you can just do it by hand. Either one is fine. So we have 23 plus 34 plus 13. So therefore, it's a total of 70. Now I'm going to go back, and I'm still missing 2. I'm missing 1 for the oak, so now I can find it. 10 plus 16 is 26, plus what number will give me 34? That'll be 8. And you can always double check. 10 plus 16 plus 8 gives you 34. Missing more? I'm missing 1, so I can find this one here. 20 plus 14 is 34, plus one number will give you 70. So that should be 36. But we can just do 70 minus 20 minus 14. And that gives me 36. So we're almost there. So now let's see, we're missing those two pieces. I can find this piece here. So what number plus 16 plus 8 gives me 36. So 16 plus 8 will give you 24, plus one number will give you 12. Correct. 12 plus 8 is 20, plus 16 is 36. 8 plus 2 is 10, plus one number gives me 14. 4. Now I should double check if you to make sure that I have it correct. 7 plus 12 is 19, plus 4 gives me 23. That confirms. We already checked this one out. So that matches, so we are in good shape. So now we can answer the questions. How many oak cabinets are produced each week? So what did you get? Oak that are produced each week, total of 34. 34 oak cabinets. What is the relative frequency? Whenever you're talking about relative frequency, you have to remember that that is going to be a fraction that will be converted to a decimal and then a percentage. So what's the relative frequency of median pine? Oh, in this case, did you guys see that I get this one right? I got it correct. Let's go back and fix it. So that should be, how many large? So we have not 34. How many large oak cabinets? Large oak is only 8. So go and fix that. You probably got it correct. Now, relative frequency of median pine cabinets. Median pine will be 12. 12 over the total, which is 70. And I'm going to type that into the calculator. We can reduce it if we want. But we have 12 fraction 70. Notice that in this calculator, you do 12 divided by, or you can just do the fraction. Either one works. So we just do 12 divided by 70. That gives you 0.17. I just need two numbers. We usually call those significant figures in high-level math. And I'm going to move the decimal to the right twice. 1, 2. So therefore that gives you 17%. What is the relative frequency of large oak bookcases? So let's see. See what you get. What percentage did you get? So what is the relative frequency of large oak? Oak, large will be 8. Frequency will be, relative frequency is a fraction, which will be converted to a decimal. We can reduce this fraction, but in this case we're just going to type it in as 8 divided by 70. I'm going to keep two decimal places, so 0.11. I'm going to move the decimal to the right twice, and that gives me 11%. So that will conclude the lesson for today. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.